I thought we'd have a little chit chat whilst I pin curled my hair for tomorrow. Honestly, I had it cut this week and it feels so amazing. I'm also babysitting my niece and nephew, so they could appear at any point because I don't think they'll be settling anytime soon this evening. But yeah, we're gonna pin curl my hair whilst we chit chat. I always find these videos so funny. I never really know, where to start. And I think I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, like my own little healing journey. And I think these are what I want to use these videos for. I want them to be, a bit more real, a bit more like open and honest. And, it's a space that I can feel a little bit more safe in to talk about. And I can kind of just, get my words out I guess in the best way that I can. I'm not the best at doing that. And I think, lately I've definitely had a lot of conversations with people that are maybe like struggling or like on their own. I hate calling it like a healing journey, but maybe just on a journey to figuring themselves out, I guess, is maybe a way to look at it. Because I will say the one thing I think I've learned recently is I truly don't think you ever like heal from something. I just think you just learn how to manage it. Like, you can't heal and it disappear. Like, the stuff that you go through doesn't just like vanish out of thin air because you've been to therapy or like done all these things. I just think you generally learn to like move on with your life and just that it becomes a part of you, because I'm a great believer that everything that we go through, every good, bad sort of experience shapes who you are. Like, I truly believe that. I think even the hardest of stuff that you go through, I think it was supposed to happen. And sometimes in those moments it can feel so unfair, it can feel so lonely, it can feel like you've got nowhere to turn to. But I just truly believe that it's part of you and it's kind of supposed to be where you're supposed to be. But I did in fact actually have I had a therapy session today. I think I've been going to therapy now for, about 11 months. That's crazy. This is actually the second time I've been in therapy. I will say the first time I went to therapy, I think I did like a few weeks. And thought I was fixed. And the one thing I will say with therapy is like, it's definitely for the long game. Like, if you're not willing to go to therapy for a good substantial amount of time, I probably just won't bother. Like, if you're not ready to kind of invest that time and energy and money into that, I definitely just don't think I'd even bother starting. Because I don't know how much I want to talk about that particularly, but like for me, I started therapy at the beginning of the year, and my roots need doing so bad. And I generally think for the first like 4 or 5 months, like, I didn't achieve anything because I held so much back. I think like I probably would go as far to say I wasn't honest with my therapist. And I actually remember the session where I got on the call and I just said to her, I was like, I've not been honest with you. I was just like, and at the end of the day, if you're not willing to be open or honest in therapy, again, it's just really, really pointless. But at the same time, like, I don't think it's pointless. I just think sometimes it takes time to like maybe get to that point where you feel comfortable enough, because obviously a therapist is still a stranger and it's still vulnerable, like, and it's still like stuff you have to share and be ready to talk about. And whenever you talk about something that feels hard to talk about, like, it's not easy, whether you're talking to a friend, a family member, a therapist, it's not easy. And I've definitely these last sort of 3 to 4 months felt like definitely been on that healing journey, I would say, where you know, I've gone through the numbness, I've gone through the fight and flight, I've gone through all those emotions. And I think, you know, that's the one piece of advice I would give to anyone that's kind of feeling a little bit like lost. When I first started, I definitely went through the numb, the exhausting, because when you've been in fight or flight mode for so long and you're almost running on adrenaline, I would say. Like, that's kind of how it feels. Like, you just feel like you just keep going. You just keep going and going and going and going because you have to. Like, you know, we have to keep going. And then I think when I finally got to that point where I was coming out of that, all I did really was like, I was numb for a while, but then I went through the exhaustion stage where, like, I could sleep 8-9 hours a night and I would still wake up exhausted. My body was just, I don't know, I had zero energy, I had zero desire. And then it was weird because, like, your brain's kind of ready to process. But, like, I'd be, like, sat on the sofa and, like, you know, in your head you're thinking of all these things that you want to do and, like, that. But your body's just like, no, you're just going to sit here and you're going to do nothing. And, yeah, that was a weird stage for me. And don't get me wrong, I still suffer with that quite a bit now. But the next phase after that for me was brutal. It was the, like, the feeling and the emotional stage that I went through. And oh my goodness me, I have cried. Like, I went through a phase where I don't think I cried for like 6 months. Like, I just did not cry. And then I went through this stage and all I seemed to do was cry. Like, you know, someone could simply just ask me a basic question and I would just, like, I would cry and I would constantly be sat there just like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm crying my eyes out, but I'm fine. And I always think, you know, once you get to that stage, that's actually a really good stage because I feel like you're finally almost like accepting like everything. You're accepting it, you're feeling, you know, you're at that point where, you know, things are going to start to look up. And I think that's always a good place to be. And I actually had a therapy session today with my therapist is amazing. She's like 16. She's called Boris. I absolutely love her. She's quite direct, I will say, but that was kind of the type of therapist I wanted. I wanted someone that was quite direct. And do you know what I think's really sad is we ended my therapy session today and she just told me that basically she just felt so sad after listening to sort of what we were talking about. And I think what I find sad about it is that something that she finds really, really sad and the need to be empathetic about is so normal to me. And I think that's the weirdest thing about being a human is, you know, we all go through experiences and we all go through things. And when you go through something long enough, or you've, you know, or if it's all you've ever known, what is so normal to you can feel so not normal to somebody else. And I think that's what's really weird when it comes to, you know, just being an individual, I suppose. Like, we all, you know, have different experience, even if, you know, it's family and things like that. Like, you all experience things so differently. And, you know, I'm at a point now where, you know, I'm pretty good, and, you know, we're obviously, you know, going through different bits and whatever, and, you know, we're talking about it, and, you know, I'm in a place where, you know, openly happy to talk about it with her. But it's just so funny how, you know, she can feel so sad about something that's just so normal. And I guess, you know, even when I speak to people and, you know, they're going through something and to them it's so normal, and it's just so funny being a human, I guess. Like, everyone just has their own individual experiences in life, and I think that's what makes you you. I think the way that you go through things, the way you handle things, shapes the person you are. And that's the whole thing about there's only one of you, and that's kind of what makes it, I suppose. So yeah, I just think it's really important that people feel, hello beautiful, what are you doing? You come to see me? You what, darling? Are you not going to sleep tonight? Hold on, let me just do this one. What do you want? What's the matter? Come here. Good night. Can't remember where I was. But yeah, I just think it's so interesting, like how everyone goes through things, and I just think it's funny, isn't it? And you know, I always joke now about my resilience, but do you know what? I think it's so good. I think going through challenges and hard things, I mean, I don't think anyone is going to go through life unscathed. Like, my gosh, that would be a miracle, wouldn't it? But I just think going through experiences and going through life is only going to help you grow. It's only going to be beneficial to the person that you want to become. Like, I reflect back now, and I mean, I'm 30 now, and I think, gosh, even at 28, like, even at 28, I'm like, who was that? Like, who was she? And I just think it's so fascinating that we just learn, we just grow. And like, if someone had said to me now, like, you know, you're gonna go through with this, you're gonna go through this, and you're gonna end up here, I'd be like, absolutely not. And I just think it's funny, like, you know, you will get through any obstacle that will ever get thrown at you. Like, oh my gosh, you just learn, because you can't not get through things. Like, what's the alternative? Like, I don't think there is one. And obviously I speak to a lot of people. Obviously I work with a lot of women, and every single one of them, you know, is absolutely incredible, and I admire every single woman that I work with. And I just think it's just, I think that's what I love about, you know, having the business that I do. I think it's just so amazing to be around so many incredible women that don't even realise how incredible they are. And like, you know, they go through life and they're managing all these things, and I just think it's incredible. Bedtime. You need to go to bed, darling. Yeah, leave them here. Right, I'll charge them, you go to bed. Go on. Yeah, go to bed. Good night. I just think it's yeah, so incredible that they don't even realise, you know, how amazing they are. And I think that's what I truly love about doing what I do, is being able to be around so many women who, you know, maybe I can help just a little bit, even just open their eyes to, you know, their potential, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I think it's just such a beautiful thing to be able to be in a position, I guess, that maybe I can help a little bit. And that's really nice. And I love that, because I know life's hard. Life is full of so many challenges, so many different challenges as well. You know, whether that be family related, whether that be work related, relationship related. Like, it's, you know, it's hard, isn't it? Like, it's not, there's not a bloody instruction manual, is there? There's not an instruction manual that says, do this when this happens. Well, maybe there is, but it's funny, isn't it? And I just think, when it comes to going through these type of things, I said to a few of my girls this week, and I said, you know, when you are going through something, or maybe you're healing or whatever, I described it as like standing on the beach. And imagine you standing on the beach, and then, you know, when like the sea kind of comes in, and like sometimes it'll just brush up against your leg just a little bit, and then other times there might be like a big wave that gushes and it hits you quite hard. And I think that for me is what healing feels like. Is some days it's like there, like you get that little brush of a wave, like you know it's there, but it's kind of, it's calm, it's okay. And then other days you get like a gush, and it's like, whoa, I really feel that today. And I definitely feel that for myself. And I can have days where I'm so full of energy and I feel really, really good. And then I have days where I could just be alone and sit and do nothing and hide from the world. And, you know, I'm fortunate now that because I've been through it before, and I've suffered with my mental health, and I've gone down that road. I do think when you've gone through it before, I feel like you pick out the signs quicker, and I think you kind of see it. So you learn, and I think the tools that I've learned over the last sort of 5 years has definitely guided me through, you know, hard times now. And it's funny actually, because I'm like I'm a bit of a introvert extrovert. I always describe myself like I adore people, and I'm always like, I love being around people. I'm very social, like, you know, I love that. I love being with my friends, but I spend so much time on my own, like so much time on my own. And, you know, I really need that now. Like I've come almost like accustomed to that, and I need to have that to sort of kind of check in with myself, I guess. And I think, you know, having those boundaries, that, you know, understanding yourself enough that you need that, because I can get overstimulated quite quickly, and you know, the people around me definitely sort of sense that. And you know, I'm very grateful for like my friends, like, you know, if I am having those times where you need a little bit more of you time, like, you know, they get it. And I didn't meet my friends until I was, my friends, I think Meg, I must have been about like 25, 26. And then my other two best friends, I met kind of age of 20, 28. And like, you know, I'm really grateful every single day for the people I have in my life. But, you know, I picked my friends very, very carefully, and I absolutely adore each. I would literally go to the end of the earth for any of them. So, you know, I do think you have to be very, very careful with who you allow around you. I think your environment is absolutely everything. Like, if you're around people that don't build you up, or like if you tell them that you're going to do something and they kind of go, like, I don't know, if they're not supportive, like, you want to be around people that, you know, build you up, lift you up. Likewise, you should be that person for those people around you. Like, obviously be, you know, honest, and if they're doing something stupid, obviously tell them. But I don't know, I think it's just really important to be particular with your environment and the people you allow in your circle, because not everyone wants you to win, unfortunately, which would be lovely if that was the case. If everyone was just supportive, that would be absolutely divine. But anyway, I'm just rambling. I just like to have a little chit chat sometimes. I feel like these are my calmer times, and I think I'm quite I know I can be a bit full on for people sometimes, so I think sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit calmer, it's nice just to have these little chit chats. And I think because I'm building this platform now, I think, you know, it's really good to talk about things, because, you know, we look at people and think, oh gosh, life's perfect, woohoo. But it doesn't mean people don't go through things. Like, oh my gosh, it's normal. Like, especially, you know, when you are hitting your 30s, your 40s, it can feel very overwhelming. And who was I talking to the other day about figuring life out? I was like, I don't think anyone ever figures life truly out, do we? I don't know if that's, I mean, if you figured out life, please let me know. I mean, all I know is I'm very grateful for the path that I'm on, and I will continue to work very hard for the life that I want. But yeah, I don't think you ever fully have it figured out. So if someone asks me now, do I want kids? I find that question really hard. Not that anyone does ask me that, to be honest. I don't know. Yeah, no one ever asks me that anymore. Saying that, I did get asked it the other day. I can't remember who it was. I think it was my business mentor, actually. And I think it's a really difficult question. And I think for me, it's always been less of a case of, do I want children? And more of a case of, like, if it happens, and like if it's with, you know, the right person, obviously. Like, I don't feel like I will have failed at life if I haven't had children. Like, that's, I don't hold all of my self-worth of being on this planet, of being a parent. Like, obviously I'm so grateful for having all my nieces and nephews, and I'm so lucky to be around so many gorgeous babies, but like, my whole worth is not sitting on being a mother. Like, I'm a great auntie, and I love that. And, you know, if it does happen for me, absolutely fantastic, incredible. But if it doesn't happen, you know, I'll still live life to the absolute fullest, and I'll still make the most of absolutely everything. And I think it is difficult as we do get older. Obviously, females do have a bit of a clock, shall we say. And I think, You know, I definitely know a lot of women in their 30s now that maybe don't have children yet. And it is a conversation that definitely comes up more and more. And I think, you know, it does put a lot of pressure to, like, almost like it's almost the pressure to, like, have an answer. And I think, you know, I remember having a conversation with the girls who I went on the hike with, and we sat, and actually I think most of us, if not, were like sort of late 20s, early 30s, and none of us had children. And it was really interesting having that conversation of, you know, where were we all at? And I think part of me thinks I'd be a great blooming mother, but, you know, at the end of the day, I make a great auntie, and that's fine for now. I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. My 3 best friends all have babies, and it's mad. It is mad that I'm like the only one that doesn't, but that's okay. That is absolutely okay. You know, my life is very much business focused right now. I'm building my beautiful business with my beautiful girls, and I absolutely adore it. And it is just, honestly, God, if you'd have told me this is what I'd be doing, I'm so grateful every single day. So grateful. Don't get me wrong, it's bloody hard work. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm drowning. It's hard work, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard work. The hardest I've ever worked in my whole entire life, but also, you know, the most rewarding I've ever, like, it's just the best. And I think that's the thing with, you know, life and stuff. I always say, like, I mean, I come from absolutely nothing. I come from a really poor background. I would go as far as to say an unsupported background. You know, moved out at the age of sort of 18, had 3 jobs when I was 15. I've always really tried to work my hardest. And I think it's one of those things that, you know, getting to this point in my life it's not been an easy journey, but it's one that I feel like I've worked very hard for, and will continue to work hard every single day. But yeah, it's just funny, isn't it, how every experience I feel like I've gone through in my life, you know, as, you know, moving out, being in a long-term relationship, sort of leaving that, changing careers, going through some other stuff, has all led me to this point. And a lot of that stuff wasn't positive. It wasn't good stuff. And I think it's funny how, you know, whatever is going to happen in your life is always going to lead you to where you're supposed to be. And, you know, as soon as I became a coach, I just knew. I mean, it's weird, actually. I've always worked with women, like, obviously being a hairdresser before being a coach. I've always been around women. And I think that's truly what I'm supposed to do, is to be around women and help women. And I'm definitely believe that is my life kind of destiny, shall we say. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I want you to all know, like, if you are struggling, if you are going through stuff, like, I get how hard it is. I know it can feel drowning and overwhelming and sad, and we're everyone's suffering. It's not easy, and everyone's suffering with their own stuff. And sometimes it's more, you don't even know what you're suffering with. You just don't feel 100%. Maybe you feel a bit lost. Maybe you feel, you know, all these different types of things. But, oh, what's going on there? But you'll always figure it out. Nothing is permanent. And I think that's always the key. Whether that be, ow, 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 that's hot. You'll always, you know, be where you're supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be there. You'll always end up in that space. What's going on here? So yeah, I don't know. I just think, always look at life positive. Always look at life as though no matter what happens, it was meant to be. You know, even when it feels like it was the worst thing in the world, still meant to be. Still supposed to, and just figure out what it's trying to teach you. Just figure out what it was trying to teach you. And I truly believe everything's just trying to teach me to be bloody resilient at this point. I think I'm about there. So yeah, always just think about what things are trying to teach you and just know that it'll always work out. It'll always work out. But yeah, life's just funny. Life is so funny. If only there was a roadmap, but there just can't be, because everyone's life is so different. Like, everyone is so different. Every person I meet, so different. And I love it. We all have our little quirks. We all have our, you know, things. And it's funny, really, I suppose, in a sense, like, do you ever truly ever know anyone, like, fully? Because how could you? Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's so many little cute quirks and so many cool things about every individual. Like, do you ever truly know them? I have no idea. Anyway, I really am just rambling. I'm so sorry. God forbid if you actually are listening this far along, because I'm just chatting absolute crap at this point. But anyway, just wanted to have a little chin wag. I think it's just nice. Whoa, that's a bit big. We'll just wrap that one up a little bit more. Also, I'm 3 weeks out from shoot, and oh my goodness me. Oh, I tell you what, if you told me I would do that, I'd have been like, absolutely not. I mean, it's been hard work, I'm not gonna lie. Definitely had a bit of a hard day today mentally. Just, it's, do you know what it is? It's the, obviously I've been quite small before, unhealthily, shall we say. Like, I'm holding on to a lot of muscle. Like, I don't look bad. But yeah, like, definitely had a bit of a panic earlier. It was like, oh my God, I'm so small, I'm so skinny, oh my God. And obviously people notice it as well. They think sometimes that's the hardest thing, because obviously I'm aware of it, like, you know, I can see myself. So it is hard, you know, sometimes just being like, oh my God, I am tiny, but you know, we're going to reverse straight out. It's going to be fine. Like, I'm not staying as lean as we are, but I'm super proud of myself, because this, again, it's such a strength to be able to do this. Like, it's definitely been, you know, a learning curve for me, and I've learned a lot about how strong I am mentally, because, you know, there's been definitely times where I'm like, what the frick am I doing? Might as well just give up. But no, we don't give up. Even if we have a setback, you know, we put our big girl pants on, you know, we brush ourselves off, and we just go again. We just go again. I mean, this is a vibe. This will look absolutely lush in the morning. I'm sure of it. But anyway, just a little chit chat. I quite like these little chit chats. I think it's nice just to be a little bit more open and honest, and just little chat. But yeah, if you are someone that's kind of in that position at the minute where maybe you are just coming out of fight or flight, maybe you're still in fight or flight and you're running at 1,000,000 miles an hour and everyone's depending on you and you're finding it absolutely impossible, I promise you, you'll find a way out. You will learn that you can't be in that position forever. You may go through a little bit of a mentally challenging phase, but you'll come out stronger. You'll come out so much stronger, and you are so much stronger than you even bloody realise. I always say that to everyone. The strongest people are tested the most. So if you are someone that is being tested, just know you are one badass woman. One badass woman. And you'll be fine. You will be absolutely fine. Right. Pin killed hair. Chat from Chloe. If you got this far, I mean, it was an absolute chit chat of absolute nothing, but you know, I think sometimes it's just nice to know that you're not alone, I suppose. So yeah, thanks for listening.